everybody, welcome back to Dragon's Arcade. So, today we're continuing our playthrough of The Cruel King and the Great Hero. This is going to be a fun one. Mostly because I'm kind of really liking this game. It's this very small scale, but with larger implications on the side, with some kind of war, humans separated from monsters, the Dragon King raising the hero that struck him down or something. It's all very confusing as to what's going on here. All we know is little Yu here is under control, is being watched by her dad, the dragon demon king, king of monsters, and he will not tolerate anyone harming his precious little girl. So he watches them, and if she needs fire attack, he burns her sword so she can hit things with it. It's wonderful. It's like it's like the medieval I want to be a hero version of having a soccer helicopter parrot. So go to the Blizzard Forest all the way down. So let's go this way. We should be able to stay in the Blizzard area. So now we don't have to go the long way. So yeah, I will be releasing my next review for tonight. I'm going to be recording it after I'm done here. I also may be releasing a YouTube video. So I was going to do the one about Death, but the idea I had for the video, it started out as an interesting idea, but I just kind of wanted to stay on the topic of the unique multiplayer concurrency of it. I liked the idea of the multiplayer actually being involved in the story in Deathloop. I thought that was a lot of fun. It was well implemented to give the loops a sense of variety that they might get to save me. Basically, it was an interrupted routine, which is necessary for things to be boring and trying to get all the ducks lined up in a row back then. But that video just did not work out. I lost passion for it as I was doing it. I still have the audio for it recorded here. Somebody asked me for it, I might like show you as the audio, but I'm not going to make a whole video for it. It wasn't worth it for me. And it's really annoying because I spent a lot of time going over it, but it just didn't pan out. And I don't want to release something I just have finished, really. I have that problem because I don't think you should ever really take anything down. I have a big thing about that. Like, even if you think something is horrible, I've read a lot of stories online, and whenever I go to try and find my story and find out it's been taken down by the author, I'm like, well, I kind of like that story. It might have been embarrassing to you, but it was fun for me, you know? And so I don't really feel comfortable putting something out if I'm not going to feel comfortable keeping it out there forever, no matter how embarrassing. Please don't go back and listen to some of my old podcast episodes. Season 1 was... I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. But back then, I had no clue whatsoever. Like, none at all. Some of those videos were very randomly. I still have that problem nowadays, but it's less so of a problem than it was back then. That first episode, to be honest. And it was just like, oh, this is my first introduction to the world. It was a double feature episode. And I've only done a few double feature episodes because I feel like I want to talk about just one thing at a time. Back then I only released one episode. Back in the first few episodes I only released like one a week, and I just made 2 things. But now I actually have it as 2 separate episodes. I'm actually thinking about dividing it into 4 so I can have the review and the spoiler as 2 different parts. That way people who want to just listen to a review and don't want to listen to the spoiler section can do that without having to worry about like switching it off. Not sure I'll go through with that. It's just something I'm thinking about doing. If I do that though, it'll probably be a change next year. Basically what I've been seeing is that when I implement a change, I prefer to do it by around the ends of the year. That way I don't have to change the format I'm making. Just a little insight on how I do that. Thank you to whoever watched my last stream after it was already released. I saw I got like a view or 2. So thank you for that. I love the music. I'm definitely gonna get the soundtrack for this. This game is just so relaxing. I really need this, honestly. This just feels so good. I love stressful games, don't get me wrong. I play Dark Souls games for fun. I have no right to complain about stress in video games. that is making stress of my own actions. but I do enjoy just playing a chill-out game once in a while. For fun, one thing you should know, I actually play a lot of Moonstar Defense when I just want to chill out. When I don't have access to a lot of my other stuff, basically my default mobile game these days is Moonstar Defense. Most of my time between just small short story writing, mostly just creative writing challenges for myself, practicing drawing, and other things like that. But wondering that's how it goes. As for the review tonight, well, I have two potential options. So I'm almost finished with Obsidian, and after this I could just finish reading it real quick. That one, I do have something to talk about because it has a very interesting magic system. Basically, it has one of those magic systems where mages can almost just do anything, but the cost for magic is a lot higher. And it actually leads to some interesting fights. For example, so the way it works on Obsidian is all magic is essentially blood magic. Whenever a mage, so there are mages out there, who have been shooting up mages. The mage guilds do not like teaching women, and also have a monopoly over creating basically these magic barriers that keep out some ancient light. So they have a lot of power, and they, basically they're a stand-in for the Catholic Church. They're very much a stand-in for a religious church. I'm gonna say Catholic Church because it's medieval age era, so that's the stand-in. Sorry, people. People don't like that. Anyway, basically, one of the I guess you could call them they're sort of like priests, but basically one of their organization taught his adopted daughter how to use magic, and because she had the potential to be very dangerous, so his order had him killed, and she got basically exiled to the Waste, where she was picked up by one of the wandering outcast tribes, essentially. She survived, even though all the mages there thought she was going to die, even the rebels didn't want her, because she was, well, they did some forbidden stuff. She got into some forbidden magic and dangerous types of magic. She's able to control this very wild magic they haven't gone into yet, because I'm still, they're only 2/3 of it, but we haven't really revealed everything. But, essentially, in the end, at this point, she is trying to gather the materials to create another barrier, because the thing she was outcast for was that she had knowledge of how to create barriers, and you needed to teach her so that she could raise barriers. Essentially, if the church lost exclusive knowledge on how to create barriers, then people wouldn't need to, pay their tithes to the church in order to be safe. They could go to city in order to keep any semblance of power. Essentially, they would lose a lot of prestige. Their whole monopoly is we're the only ones who can keep you safe, and if they lose that, well, it's not great for them. Obviously, they're trying to stop it. It's getting complicated. The main thing I've been interested in, more so than the Blight, more so than the Magic Barrier system, which introduces this we have a unique resource, Grasp on Politics, which you can see sort of. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an interesting idea, but it's essentially just a stand-in for the Catholic Church's monopoly on faith in the medieval era. Basically, the idea was, before the Protestant Reformation, you paid your, what were they, I forget the word off the top of my head. They were basically tithes that you paid money so that you wouldn't have to go to purgatory, you could skip straight to heaven. That's why the church invented purgatory. I mean, all religions are invented, but the church, after the fact, after the religion was already established, invented purgatory so they could get the tithes and make money off it. And then Martin Luther was like, no, I don't think you know what the hell you're talking about. That doesn't exist. Why the hell are you doing this? And then printed the Bible so everybody could read it. Once people didn't have to go to them for their knowledge, they could just, say screw it. We'll do our own beliefs, which, anyone who wants to say screw it to a church is fine. I mean, granted, they literally just split into 1,000 different denominations, so it's not like they're impressive. But, yeah. All in all, it was an interesting thing, and it basically is this. It's the same principle. It's a metaphor for it, if that makes sense. If anyone, it's sort of like how the church could only, the only ones who had the interpretation of the Bible, only church officials could legally flag. And in this world, the Mage Guild can raise barriers, so they know the secret magic moves to raise the barriers. And essentially, essentially Martin Luther Stanman. She's going to raise a barrier once she proves that he can help the church, or at the very least, you'll be able to choose between two options. She wants to do it so that she can create a place for her clan because the wastes are getting more dangerous, ancient powers are stirring, you know, the fantasy tropes. But when you boil it all down, while all that's very interesting, and I will probably go a bit more in depth into that in review, the main thing that's interesting to me personally, I'm not a huge history person. Okay, I know all of that, but I read a lot and listen to a lot of weird stuff online because I like learning new things. I've never been a fan of history though. I like magic. I like fantasy. And in this world, they have a cool system. So the blood magic there, basically mages don't have staffs, they have knives. And whenever you want to perform magic, you have to use one of your knives to cut. The different stones have different properties. Higher grade stones are used by higher grade sorcerers, you know, to assemble a power. There are also other things like the main character uses obsidian blades, which can grant you a lot of power, but can lead you to instability in magic. Essentially, it's power, but, you know, the chance of losing control of all that power, essentially. Which is, you know, a nice risk-reward trade-off. I like things like that. All in all, the magic system is cool, though, because they actually dive into what it means to have a system of magic based around blood. Turns out, when your magic users use magic by getting wounded, normal people don't have that much of a chance against them. So this is minor spoilers, but I'm not going to give you too many details on it. Essentially, they get attacked by some of the church, Mage Guild group, and while they're trying to go find the place and all the materials to go raise the barrier for the tribe, and the normal guy, he's this exile from one of the empires who's currently has control over the area where the light is. It's complicated politics stuff, if you're into that. There is some of that. And he actually stabs one of their enemy mages to try and save another character's life. Well, it turns out when you stab a mage to the heart, they don't die immediately, because, you know, they're still alive for a few seconds, and you just released a lot of blood. So, if you do something like that to a mage, you essentially turn them into a suicide bomber. They're already dead. They don't care what happens now. They might as well let the magic flow. Which is a very interesting system, because it makes it very clear that mages cannot be fought like normal opponents. And that's why I always like when you see mages in media, there are always these things where, like, almost all media has, if you have normal mages, there are people who can fight mages without magic, you know? Or like the anti-magic police, or magic hunters, or something like that. It's a very common recurring trope. And usually they need some kind of advantage. Sometimes they'll be sneaky assassins that kill mages quietly from the shadows. Other times they'll have like anti-magic techniques. One example of this was the Black Hand in the Aragon series, the Heron Cycle. Some of them were mages, but a lot of them weren't, and they were dangerous assassins. They weren't mages, but most of them could hide their minds and things like that, which is a skill even normal people can learn in that world. It's sort of a type of magic, but it's the type everyone has. They're not actual proper magic users. So they could hide themselves extremely well, and then they could kill them from the shadows. They're basically elite spies and assassins. Which, yeah, that you understand why they could actually take out magic users, because if magic users rely on their mental sense, someone being able to protectively hide from them, not even like visible as like a barricade mine, but somebody evil, like the dangerous spots hidden in the background would be very effective. And then you have other things, like you might have like anti-magic material that can disrupt magical use. You might have some more rituals they undergo to make themselves immune to magic. They might just be really, really well-trained warriors who don't need magic. An example of this would be things like, probably the default example for me are the chi blockers in Avatar The Last Airbender. They also appeared more prevalently in Legend of Korra, which if tensions are rising between benders and non-benders in that show, it makes sense that chi blocking would become much more widely circulated. In the original series, we only really saw it from Ty Lee, And the way it works is that all the benders, they use martial arts to control the different elements. But the power to do that comes from their chi, and chi blocks hit certain pressure points in the body to block that chi, which, in addition to taking away their bending, also makes your body extremely weak and even paralyzed limbs. So once they take out your bending, they can start taking a limb each time and slowly but surely whittle you down, which is, a very terrifying way of fighting. But the thing about magic users is if these people exist, if these techniques are effective, they still have to be dangerous. Because otherwise, why would Levi spend centuries learning to use magic if you could become just as dangerous or even more dangerous without using it? I remember the Yuhan Archers in Avatar Lost Airbender. That's another example of sort of like non-benders with bender level skills. They were basically supernaturally good archers. Like, these people are doing something that is not available in Arch, because they could literally capture a fly alive with an arrow by piercing its wings. That is so BS. Like, you need supervision to see that. And they actually caught Aang for General Zhao in one episode. And it's like, okay, if you can become that good with a bow and arrow, and some of these guys are not like old, they look like, 20s and 30s kind of people, especially for that era, like the kind of nebulous rural time period set in. Like, if you could become that skilled that you can take down the Avatar with freaking bows and arrows, why on earth do you need bending? Don't get me wrong, some of those powerful benders can do things that are freaking absurd, but Aang was like a master airbender. And airbenders haven't even been alive for years, so people will assume you're on a fight. Yeah, he didn't really fight him, he was trying to run away. Most people aren't even on his level, so those guys are dangerous people. And when you have things like that, when you have martial artists who are so skilled, you're just like, wait, if people in this world have superhuman abilities even without the magic system, why do you really need the magic system? Things like that can bring a magic system down for me. Now, I think it works in Avatar because it's, kind of explained by everyone has chi and benders can just use more of it. So, of course, they would go for the supernatural.
氷月の丘のどこかにあると言われている幻の場所。雪に覆われた。ああ、すごい。突然現れた花々に2人の目は奪われました。
Magic, in addition to being something that can build on the world, interactions with people and stuff like that, like in Greece,
花咲く森、本当にあったんだ。やったよ、コンコ。コンコ。コンコも嬉しそうです。果たしてこの森に目指す桃色に光る花はある？
or the Fjordans who burn them as witches to, capture and murder them. So that made the Darkling accelerate his plans somewhat. And I like that. I like how the magic system has to be questioned. How useful is this compared to just
突然、茂みの中から魔物が飛び出してきました。この辺りでは見かけない。
Does it make your magic users develop special techniques to fight? Does it maybe make the villain searching for power because he feels threatened by this new age? Little things like that can really be a little overwhelming, I feel. Monster no skills for you. Oh wow. Let's try Guardian. But yeah, I've always been very interested in that, and Obsidian actually seems to have thought that it's not as heavily addressed, but they very much did think of how the magic system politics would affect the world around it. It's not just this system that's there in the normal world. That's what's always been weird to me when you still have like normal armies in some world where you have enough, even if you have enough sorcerers to build a magic army. It's one of the things I continue to go back to Inheritance for, and I praise Christopher Paolini for, is the actual thought he put into how magic would affect battlefields. The fact that magic users can do almost anything if they're willing to suicide themselves is, you basically anything they feel like. To the other person can have a basic answer. Which means unless one of them has a death wish, unless one of them is acting suicidal, they won't risk it. And I like that. I think that is a very interesting thing to do with your world. Making magic users rare is usually what most characters do. They're like, look, there just aren't enough of them to make an army. Like, they're either so rare that you only have like a few dozen in the world itself. The common ones only have basic magic skills, sort of like a mutant situation with X-Men where, yeah, most of your mutants aren't Omega level mutants, they're just, guys with weird skin condition. Like, okay, well then that makes sense, I guess. I mean, I still probably see soldiers with minor magical abilities, but it wouldn't be something that you just, like, have a lot of around. Makes sense. All in all, I've always been fascinated by the way magic affects the world, the way it affects how that world is developed, how the characters and the plot unfolds. If you don't really care how a world ends up looking when you introduce magic to it, one of the things I've actually been looking forward to is the next season of the Dragon Prince. That series actually is very interesting, which is humans are born, basically, it's later, originally we believe humans couldn't use normal magic. All magical creatures are born with an arcanum, which is basically a unique understanding of one of the primordial essences of magic. So, the moon, the sun, the ocean, the earth, all those different things, each of the aspects of creation, they have a unique understanding of and all magical creatures are born, but humans don't have one. Until a mage found out, since they were basically a void, they could suck the magic out of other things, so they created dark magic. And dark magic is literally just using other things as alchemy ingredients to fuel magic. But since you have to murder magical creatures to use dark magic, it kind of has this icky taboo to it, and all the magical creatures banish humans to the other side of the world. However, the main character, Callum, discovers that if you learn to understand an aspect of the arcanums, you can gain it for yourself. So he originally had like a little storm orb that had a capture the storm. It was a magical relic and one of the few magical items that allowed you to use primal magic without having to, kill magical creatures. It wasn't dark magic, essentially. Jesus, this is so tanky. Is he also talking about health bar? Like, am I actually able to beat him, or is this just gonna go on forever? But after he had to destroy the orb so that the Dragon Prince could be born, he was without his magic. But after a lot of harrowing experiences and making some stupid decisions, he learned to understand the sky and gained access to the Sky Arcanum. And due to some developer notes, yay, we need it, we got first boss of the he learned that the Sky Arcanum, humans rarely in the past could learn magic, but it wasn't innate for them. It was something they had to learn. They had to go through something. Like, Callum nearly died like 3 times.
魔物を追い返すことができまし
And
た。
that was after a lot of other things were experienced. The Primal
あ
Stone,
んな凶
which
暴な魔物
apparently
が
is pretty rare based on the fact
どこ
that
にいたんだろう。
we've seen one so far. Well, two, I guess.
考えてみますが、
That the
全
sun-
然わかりませ
The
ん。
fact that it was an ancient relic of like the queen of the Sun Elves is
気になるけ
I
ど、
mean, that's obvious. Like if they're
それ
that
より
rare,
今は
that
光る花を探さなきゃね。
royal relic.
ユ
Yeah,
ウは
most people aren't even gonna have access to
もう
it
諦めました
all at first, and the few that do have
さあ、
experience it or are
行こう。
it
コン
would
コ
have
ン。
to willingly believe that they could learn it, which their entire culture has
さらに
not.
奥の方へ
And
と
dark magic is a lot
進んでみ
easier
る
to
ことにし
go
ました。
after it. So most of them will get into that. It's only people who persevere, and innately understand the Arcanum, learn to understand that aspect of reality, and basically grow as people, only then can they, you know, become proper mages. And so it's a lost art. It's something that's really rare and only happens to a few humans. It doesn't actually undercut the whole,
Konko,
oh, look, we found
mite.
Rocky's flower.
光る
It
花
doesn't
だよ。
undercut the whole,
ユウたちは
I'll
つ
get
い
back to
に
that in a second. This is
泉のほと
look, they're super shiny.
桃色に光る花を見つけました。ユウは恐る。その時です。泉が桃色に輝き、ここは願いの泉。そしてあ、こんにちは。突然ね、ユウの問いにゆっくりとうなずく泉の精霊。あなたはいい子ですね。それではあなたには小さな祝福を授けましょう。世界の各地にはここと同じ色に輝く小さな泉があります。助けを必要とするときはその泉に立ち寄りなさい。あなたの旅の助けとなるでしょう。消えちゃった。何だったんだろう。でもなんだか懐かしい感じがしたよ。ユウたちは光る花の花びらを一枚ちぎって、やった！コンコ！コンコ一家はみんなすっかり元気になりました。見ず知らずの私たちのことを助けてくれるなんて本当に家族みんなが元気になったことを涙。気がつけばすっかり日が落ちました。ユウはありがとう。またね、コンコ。ユウの姿が見えなくなる。
Like, oh, I just got here. I totally wasn't stalking you all day. Ah, goddamn. Go home. So yeah, let's get back home.
山の住処へと飛び立つユウと王様ドラゴン。ちくしょう、苦労してここまで魔物を連れてきたのに、まさかユウが勝っちまうなんて。こうなったら仕方ありません。前々から仕込んでいたあの作戦ね。
So yeah, the Dragon Prince is interesting because it's understandable why normal primal magic vanished. Once dark, it was so rare, like it's implied that it's like really, really rare, like, you know, 3 or 4 in duration. And I doubt it's something you can really teach. It's, you know, a character development thing. So you have to understand yourself and that with Arcanum, which you have an affinity for, which, you know, how would you determine that to begin with? And dark magic is easier. That's basically the whole plot line, is that it's a shortcut. It comes with ramifications. Not only do you kill magical creatures, which anger other sentient creatures, which is why humans are living in the situation they are in the series, and why everyone's constantly around war, but it also twists your body. It decays you, and you need more and more magic in order to sustain both yourself. Like, Verum is constantly having to, like, crush up magical creatures in order to repair his appearance, because every time he uses magic, it taints him. And when Claudia revived him, her hair went white. Like, she has this permanent white streak now that she can't heal because she pushed herself too far without restoring herself. It eats at you. but it's easier and it's effective. So people used it.
さて、今日も一日が終わりを迎えます。王様ドラゴンはユウが無事に人助けできたことに安心。さてユウ、そろそろ寝ようか。今日もユウくだろう。戦いの末、青年は白糸の谷のあと一歩というところまで追い詰めた。しかし青年は魔物にとどめを刺す。今日はここまでだ。話し終えた王様と人助けをしてちょっとずつ寝たか。王様ドラゴンはユウの頭を優しく撫で、さ
Oh, it froze again. Fun. There it goes.
ある日の朝の光景です。ドラゴンは玉座の間で王様のお城、東の谷の橋が壊れたか。あそこたまに人間たちが通るだろう。王様ドラゴンは魔物なのに人間の助けになるような命令をあります。ですが王様ドラゴンは魔物から尊敬されているので、なんでそんな時サカサという名前の家来が大慌てで玉座の間に飛び込んできました。魔物の村の南にある三つ結晶の森に住んでいる三つ熊族を聞いた王様ドラゴンは、なんとあそこの二部族はずっとなはずだが、私？ユウさんの活躍は聞いており、褒められてご機嫌になるユウ。私もついていきますね。何しろ今のところ私が何か妙だな。
Oh, he also wants to observe them both from a distance because he's a little like, something's off here. Those two groups don't fight usually. Maybe if Yu goes, I'll protect her from the shadows, obviously. She can do the obvious thing, and I'll try and figure out who's stirring problems in my kingdom. He's a little sneaky when he wants to be. Like, not when he's following you, obviously. He doesn't have to because she's a little oblivious, but... look, got that under. Level is she? Level 10. Yeah. I'm a little bit over for a level. That's good. But yeah, I've always found the Dragon Princess world very fascinating, just in that it feels very realistic. Like, if most humanity, if humans have to go through all that Callum did, and have the luck he did in order to just use regular magic, and literally everything else in the world could use magic, yeah, I understand why they turned to dark magic. I mean, it's basically the easy solution, the quick thing that gives you power and can give you security and prosperity. And the whole thing is about how taking the easy path and going after this magic and using this shortcut, it might bring benefit in the short term, but it costs you allies and it has long-lasting ramifications in the long term. It's just terrible. Which, you can take that message for like 1,000 different things, you know. Aggressive policies that distance major powers from smaller powers until they eventually get fed up with it. You can equate it to fossil fuels, you know, burning valuable resources even at the cost of the ecosystem around you. It's implied that dark magic is the reason why on the magical side of the border everything's magic, but it's implied that the other side used to be just as magical, or at least only slightly less magical where they were banished to. And it was just a slightly less magical place, but all the dark magic users hunted every magical creature there, and eventually the magic just dried up because they were, you know, they weren't using the natural levels of magic, they were just devouring it and turning it into something that put nothing back. You know, like burning fuel until the trees start burning in actual forest fires because our temperatures are rising. Alright, Alicia, we gotta find a Madam's conflict. Fine. Guess we have to deal with this nonsense. I wonder how she's doing. That is, wait, she's still in there? She's been in there for like 2 days. Woman, you don't just leave your child in a cage for 2 days. That's abusive. What is wrong with her? Ugh. It's like we don't have to do that, we just need to recover the item and she'll forget about the rest. I love how everyone just has their own personal treasure chests. No problem, dude. We understand. It's the RPG thing of blocking off a path with some random BS. It's not your fault. The creators of this world just decided that you were going to drop all your stuff and not be able to pick it up for 2 days. That's just the way things are, man. I don't blame you. It's just dumb game tropes. I remember Pokemon where they always had to find some creative way of keeping the world interconnected but preventing you from going down the route that would lead you to like the end level. Not the end level, because you can usually actually pass by the last gym on your way to the first or second gym. But the second to last gym could usually be found if you just like went left, went like right when you're going down the straight path near the beginning. And they always had to do something like block it off with Psyducks, that's a common one. They'll block it off with a Snorlax, make you go get a flute to get through it. You know, they'll just say, oh, this big old thing is blocking most of the road, so you can't get past. Like, can't I just squeeze past on the side? Like, that seems really easy. Like, you can even see it. There's a little bit there. Or I could just, like, hop off the dock, swim on the side. It's a calm lake. I could just swim over here and go around it. Like, it's 2 feet on the water. I wouldn't even have to swim. I could literally just hold on to the bridge and move past. It's not like you can't get wet. You run this, you know, pouring rain and you go diving underwater later on, so. I like the monster designs, the art style, like I said earlier. I probably am going to do Obsidian tonight. I never thought about what other thing I was going to do tonight. Well, I've been trying to watch Krakoa Monsters, but that one I haven't gone as far into because I just didn't have time. And it's a Netflix show, so there's a lot there. I really need to watch Moon Knight. I'm not going to do like the Loki. I'm not like because I'm not like a big hard Moon Knight fan the way I love Loki as a character. I like Loki just as a character, period. Not just like Marvel Loki, but Loki in general as a concept, you know. I liked him in Norse mythology. I liked him in American Gods. I liked him. Loki appears in so much stuff. Oh my god. Let's see, what else? He appears in Norse mythology, he appears in the Percy Jackson spin-off books, he appears in Marvel stuff, comics, games, all that nonsense. He appears in Hitchups. Well, not directly, but his influence is felt. He's in God of War now, which is Atreus, which is interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of Atreus. Boy. But, he's there. Loki actually is strong type, so whenever he shows up, you know you're gonna have a fun time. Ooh, what are you doing in here? Oh, they call it honey. It's like just very clearly honey, but they had to spell it differently because this game is a little quirky. This feels like this is giving me major Earthbound vibes. But like if Earthbound wasn't like pseudo contemporary, if it was actually a full-on fantasy. It has a lot of the quirks of Earthbound for me, which is a sort of ramshackle Playhouse Fort kind of battle like style it has. Like everything feels like really weird and goofy, like a kid named everything. I mean, you can do a lot worse than imitating the, you know, childhood view of gaming that Earthbound had. Earthbound's a good game to get inspiration from. Although it's just taking inspiration from general RPGs as well. Like it takes, I mean, basically every turn-based RPG has some inspiration from Final Fantasy, just because it's a really old franchise that's influenced a lot of video games. This is very clearly a Japanese game, so
えるほどの甘い香りが漂う森、
it's from Final Fantasy. That's just
甘い空気と固有の坂さはジャグリングが得意なんだ。
as somebody who loves reading,
私の
I'm always a sucker for storybook
魔物の
aesthetics.
中でも一番だと評判なんですよ。
Well, that and the amazing
私のトレードマークの入ったかっこいいナイフをつ
general, slightly weirdly dark.
王様や幹部の方たちに披露するんです。
Yeah, it's
皆さんそれはもう
great. I
大
love
喜び。
it. Sorry.
私も
I can't talk about the storybook art style without talking about World War
トレードマーク入りのナイフ？
Mm.
わあ、かっこいい。それがですね、少し前になくしてしまって探しに行きたいと思ってるんですが、それはそうとユウさん、ここからだと三つ熊族の集落が近いですよ。
Like, I lost my knives somewhere around here. Look, it's not important. We just moved on to the Hudby village. It's like, I have a feeling we're gonna find her knives in this village. Who wants to say we're gonna find her knives over here? And then she, like, I mean, that's obvious that she started this. It was her solo wave we saw the other day. When everything went, you know, when she was like, ah, my monster failed. I got to plot. I do wonder what her deal is, though. Oh shit. Oh look, he's like, no, you! I love that reaction, like, oh no, 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 no. I love how we just basically have an eternal audience. I do wish he had more emotes, like the emote and everything we did. That'd be cool. I don't think it would be that hard, because, you know, he's kind of in the background, and it's literally just his head. Like, you give him a few different, emotions that he can cycle between, that'd be great. He mostly just stands there or will do this. I'm so proud of you. But like it's just like 3 different states, like neutral, upset, and happy. Like I like we got a little bit more variety, like maybe with something like attacking you a lot, you start getting angry. You know? That'd be cool. You know, I'm just imagining if anything does manage to kill me, it's not gonna last that long. Like, if anything actually manages to beat my party, he's gonna burst out of the trees and immediately incinerate it. So I feel kind of bad fighting anything, because the moment something fights me, it's already screwed. It doesn't know it yet, but it is, because either I beat it, or it beats me and then a dragon bursts out of the forest behind it and immediately tortures it, because it hurt, you know, it hurt his precious daughter. The idea of that is just so funny for me for some reason. be like my tank. Give her healing and stuff like that. That'll do. I guess Yu should be the tank. She has more health, but she's also higher leveled. Yeah, but Yu has more attack. Yu does have more attack even with... Yeah, because it's only +2, so yeah, Yu does have more attack even with the current state of things. Okay. But yeah, it's interesting. So I think I'm probably going to try and review Obsidian. I'm trying to think what... Oh, wait, no, I was going to... Now I remember doing this. I decided to review Attack on Titan. That's right, I changed from Obsidian, because I wanted to give that book a little more time and think about it more when I review it. And rushing through the last third is just like 2 hours. It's just not really... Like, I can read that fast if I have to, but then I'm going to want to reread it, rushing through and not actually reading. You'll get the general plot, but you won't fully absorb it the same way. Plus, I do actually want to be able to remember the characters' names. And that's something I've always had trouble with in books, is remembering side character names. Like, I actually cannot remember the main character's name of that game that book right now, and it kind of hurts me to say that. But Attack on Titan, yeah, because the dub for that is about to finish its release, actually. And I want you to go ahead and say a few things about it, because Attack on Titan is very interesting. I've actually video for it. Not a full script. I just started on the script yesterday, and I already have about most of it done. And the idea is about how Attack on Titan represents anime's development from the old shonen large cast, low development to the large cast with higher focused development on individual characters and more focused overall plot and themes as opposed to general power friendship stuff. Well, that's still exists because, you know, a shonen anime. Like, come on. It's like law that you have to have the power friendship show in every shonen anime, isn't it? Like, that's like a law or something. If you don't mention the power friendship in a shonen anime, Shonen Jump sends goons to your house to break your knees because you broke their rules. I know they're not the only shonen manga publisher. They're the big one, so. All in all, I do want to talk about Attack on Titan. I will specifically talking about the first 2 seasons, not seasons 3 and 4, because I'm going to talk about seasons 3 and 4 once the last season, part of that season comes out. Now, you might be thinking, wait, I thought season 4, anybody who's not kept up with it but is aware of the show might be like, wait, didn't season 4 part 2 just finish up? Isn't that why you're reviewing it? Yeah, I did. Guess what? Season 4, unlike Season 3 and most other anime these days, doesn't have just 1 part to it. I mean, 2 parts to it. It has 3! And Part 3 is not coming out until 2023, so I have to wait another year. Do you know how long I have been waiting for this anime to finish? Attack on Titan, okay, started when I was in high school. I remember watching it, I was going to say. I went to Louisiana for math science PRE in my last year of high school because McKinley High was atrocious. I would not, like, seriously, anyone who has to go to McKinley High School, get out while you can. If you have any other options, take it. Not a fan of that school at all. Apologies to anyone there who I did enjoy being with, but, like, look, it's not my fault. It's just it's not even the school's fault, honestly, for the most part, although the principal when I was there was kind of annoying. He had this really dumb thing where, and I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I do want to talk about, I'll get to school later, but Attack on Titan started when I was in 2013, and it will finish in 2023. It's a 4-season show, but I don't count it as 4 seasons, because we had part 1 and part 2 of season 3, and now we're having 3 parts to season 4. So it's essentially a 7-season show. The reason it took so long, though, is because there was like a 5-year wait in between season 1 and season 2. And that just really hurt the show. Like, I remember I finished season 1, had all the big twists, finished that battle at the end with Trost, and then season 2, where is it? We don't know, it's just gone. But yeah, I haven't seen anyone talking about how the change and how the characters were treated how they made the characters less disposable throughout as the season went on. I haven't seen that compared to how Shonen series as a whole have done the characters, and how Attack on Titan occupies kind of a gray area. So I'm hoping this script will come together and be good once I've read out loud. I've never been... I have a hard time writing scripts that I feel like they still come out well when I speak them. I've tried practicing. I've been doing a lot of like random writing prompts and trying to do some more writing on the side. So I'm hoping I've gotten better at it, and it won't end up like my Deathloop video where I'll mention it a few times and then just quietly drop it because I don't want to start it. Actual video. I'm going to try and make an actual video essay. I'm planning out right now a background for it with a dragon standing in front of a podium, because I'm going to call this the Dragon Lecture. A Dragon Lecture, because I want to go with sort of the academic feel of the channel. You know, we have this arcade in the back. It's the backroom arcade is what we're doing. You know, it's a lot more casual. I'm in my room just chilling. Dragon's Library is when I pick out something, kind of explaining, trying to maybe be a bit casual in the spoiler section, trying to keep the review section a bit scripted. I have actual planned out sections now, so it's not just rambling. You guys hear me ramble enough, honestly. Anyone who watches all my stuff will have probably heard me ramble. There's over 100 hours of talking on right now, and that is a sad fact. But yeah, I am really hoping this works out, because if it does, I might start doing more of these Dragon Lecture videos occasionally. They won't be common. If I do them, they will be like a once every other month thing. I might try them and not go back to it. Like I did the reference section for the Bionicle episode, and I still have not gone back and done that. I've only done like 1 or 2 episodes on Bionicle, or mentioned it a few times. Because while I do want to talk about Bionicle, it's not something I can easily bring up. Because first of all, there's usually other things I could be reviewing that I feel pressured to. When a new release comes out, I feel pressured to do it, especially if it's a major release. Like, I wanted to spend more time with Elden Ring, but I felt like I had to get to the ending immediately, so I could do it while it was still being, you know, talked about. Before everyone else already released their reviews. If my review still came out pretty late. But I do feel pressured to do that sometimes. Although I do try to mix it up. One of the things I do when I review is I try very hard to varying topics. One of the rules I had, which I recently broke by accident, I wasn't paying attention, but I try my very hardest to not have 2 things in the same category in the same week. So if I review a movie previously, I'm most likely not going to review another movie. Now, yes, I did just review Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and then The Lost City, both of which are movies. One of those is a video game adaptation, so I get a bit of leeway there. But I try to have, like, if I have a movie, alright, let's try a book. What were the last 2 reviews? A movie, a show, let's try a book, or a game. I try and do this so some people will come to me for books, some people will come to me for video games, some people come to me for movies and shows, some people might come to me for all of those things. Or a mixture of them. And if you come to me for more than one of those things, thank you so much. If you come to me for one of them, thank you for that too, because I still really like it. Ah, so she can knock those down. But as a result of that, if I do get a moment in my week where I have something, I have to think about, okay, what am I going to review for the next few days, and what am I going to, what have I already reviewed? Now, I want to review some older things. Do I have any old things that I want to talk about right now that I have things to say about that are not going to be like, if it's like, alright, so what books do I have? Because I've already talked about a movie and a show, and I have a video game review coming right after this, so what books do I want to do? Do I have any books that I really want to talk about? If not, I might put in a movie or a book. I can't do a show or a game, because I know those 2 are going to be surrounding this. The movie is pretty close, so I prefer to do a book, and that's basically how I do it. I try and keep things varied, because I feel like that means that I want to review all of this. I love basically every form of media except for musicals, and I'm sorry if there are some people out there. Is there anyone out there who's like really into musicals and listens to me? If so, I'm sorry. I've just never been into theater. Like, I like movies, and I like shows, and I like books, and I've even read theater before, but there's just always been something about the live performance that I just never... I don't know, it's just never clicked with me. My mom and my brother actually went to New York. Me and my dad went skiing, and one time they were going to New York, and they were like, Davis, you're not going to want to go there. I'm like, well, I want to do these other things. Yeah, but we're going to want to go to the theater, because we want to go to Broadway one whole day, and we don't want to just stay in the hotel the whole time. And I can see it does. Yeah, that's fair. Because I would not, they know me, I would not want to go to Broadway, ever. And I've conceded to my mom that I'll try it if we go, as long as I can try the other things, and I won't complain. Because I do want to try new things. If I could make myself like theater, I probably would just like force myself to, but unfortunately, you just force yourself to like something. Trust me, I have tried in the past. I don't like trying, but I have tried. Some people have said it's just like what I've seen. Like, I've only seen a handful of plays, most of them school plays, and others in the few like professional ones I've seen. I think I saw Oz one time. It was I saw them as a kid, and when I was a kid, I just did not want to try as many things as I did now. Like, okay, this is gonna seem really weird to the person who has read like dozens of books, like reads dozens of books, over a dozen books every year minimum. I loved reading as a kid, I always have, but I didn't like reading new stuff. Part of this is I had a hard time finding things that were what I wanted to read and what I wanted to experience. Like, I really wanted more dragon stuff, and believe it or not, there's actually not as much dragon out there as you think there is. Or more specifically, there isn't a lot of things with dragon as the protagonist that I actually wanted to read. And my mom would go out of her way to find those because she preferred me reading over playing video games and watching movies. But once I got a book, if I liked a book, my mom could tell you, I would get obsessed over it. One of my favorite series as I was a kid was The Inheritance Cycle. I actually started reading that with Eldest, and then I got halfway through it and realized, wait, this is a sequel to Eragon, that movie like, I thought it was good as a kid. Once I read the book Eragon, I realized that movie was an utter piece of trash. I learned better. I learned and bettered myself as a result. And all of you should learn my example. Do not think Eragon is good just because you saw it as a kid and didn't read the book. Read the book and realize the movie is trash. Well, except for Sever's voice. That's actually the default. Like, I know the book said she had a really deep, growly voice, and I know the audiobook did that, but like, for me, the Severa voice actor, whoever that was, I might see who that was, she is basically the default Severa voice. Like, whenever I read the books, that's the voice I hear in my mind. And it's just like, this will lead you back to school, actually, because back in middle school, I checked out that book so many times from the library. Like, I would literally go to school, check out Eragon from our school library. I would read it over the course, like, the next day or two. Literally all my free time was rereading that stupid book. I mean, not stupid, I love Eragon. I'm sorry, I love that book. It's just, I read that so many times. Like, when I was in middle school, I could probably quote around 70% of Eragon. Verbatim, because I read it so many times. And then I would grab Eldest and read that, and then when Persinger came in, it was added to the rotation catalog, and this was before the last book, Inheritance, came out. The librarian eventually said, Davis, you've read these books so many times, you have them on constant rotation, please, read something else. You're suspended from checking these out for 2 months. And you know what? I read other books, and I bettered myself as a person. So, thank you, librarian, whose name I cannot remember at the top of my head right now because I am horrible with names. You helped me read other things, and I appreciate that in the long run. I still read Eragon, Eldest, Persinger, and Inheritance from time to time. I think they are very good books. I don't think they're flawless. They are personal favorites, but they're not, like, perfect, if that makes sense. They have flaws. Mr. Palini was very obviously, like, he was 16 when he wrote Eragon, okay? It was the first thing he ever published. No author's first work is perfect. Eragon is a little slow at points, although, believe it or not, I actually think he is one of the better ones. I hate ranking them because I feel like I'm insulting them, which is weird because I have no problem insulting other pieces of media that I don't like, or even, like, saying, like, controversial things. Fun fact, I think Dark Souls 3 is the worst Dark Souls game. Yeah, I know there are people who want to like, wait, Dark Souls 2. If you want to know why Dark Souls 2 is good, check out H-Bomber Guy. He did a very comprehensive list of why it's amazing. I personally like the magic system. I love hex magic in that game. I love the build variety. You can do so many cool things with builds in that game. I think the bosses get a lot more hate than they deserve. The Royal Rat Authority is an optional boss. I think he can absolutely go fuck himself. But all the other bosses are fine. They're not atrocious. There are some very good ones in there. Yes, the DLC is janky, but it has a lot of cool ideas in it. It is still a From Software game. Now, granted, Hidetaka Miyazaki only helped on some of the Scholar of the First Sin edition, like the little rebalance he did where he changed the image placement and everything like that. Oddly enough, some people hate that version most of all, which I find hilarious because I've heard he helped with that. So it's like, wait, Miyazaki, that's the worst version. Like, but that's the version I helped on. Don't you like what I do? Scholar is a lot gankier. There are a lot more enemies to get you. But some people really do hate that version. It was actually the version I played because I originally played on PC with a controller. I have a Steam controller that I used back then. And yeah, all in all, it's fine. Dark Souls 3 is a good game. Like, I have replayed Dark Souls 3. I'm 100% in it, okay? I like Dark Souls 3. I would not 100% it if I did not like it, trust me. I played Prototype and tried to 100% that, and I could not stand the hard mode in that game. I got to this one boss, the technical boss, and it was just like, no, this is not fair difficulty. It is literally just putting the damage numbers so high that it's ridiculously annoying that I basically go crazy glitches. I'm not playing this. Dark Souls, all From Software games, are like at least in my A or S tier categories when it comes to games. So when I say Dark Souls 3 is the worst one, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying it is my least enjoyable Dark Souls game. And yes, Demon Souls is ahead of it. My actual list goes, well, I'm still placing Elden Ring, but I think it's number 2. It's Bloodborne, because Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls 1 and 2 are tied, because I like them about the same, but I like them for very different things. I like Dark Souls 2's build variety. I like Dark Souls 1's world better. And their flaws, like, those two flip-flop back with me. And I know some people are screaming blasphemy to their computers right now if they're listening to this. How dare you? You're ranking Dark Souls as potentially the 4th worst Souls game with Elden Ring in the pile. It's like, I mean, I don't want to say I'm doing that, but I am doing that. So they tie for 3 for me. They tie for 3. Demon Souls is 5, Dark Souls 3 is 6. And I want to make it very clear, if I were to rate these games, every single one of them would be at least a 9. At this point, it's personal preference for me. And Bloodborne is obviously my favorite. Actually, I finally figured out a good way to talk about that. See, I actually have a yearly ritual of sorts. I didn't really do anything because I wasn't streaming back then. But every year, in Halloween, I replay Bloodborne. It is a yearly tradition that I have done for like 6 years now. Because I love Bloodborne. I obsessively love Bloodborne, like to a level that's a little off-putting to some people. How much I sing that game's praises whenever I get the chance. But I do really enjoy it. So whenever I have a chance to play it, I play it. And for me, Halloween is always about enjoying some of the scary things. And personally, Bloodborne is the most horror-tinged of all the Souls games. It's my favorite game of all time. And it's based on Lovecraft, so, it's a good thing to play during Halloween. So, since I do different types of runs for it, in order to keep Bloodborne fresh after a while, you have to try new builds. And since every weapon is essentially still viable, I usually just try out a new weapon again. The only weapon that I say is really bad is the Stake Driver, but it's still viable as a weapon if you know what you're doing. There are some fun ultra damage moves you can do with it, like oil potting someone, fire papering it, and going for a massive blast attack. If you can pull that off, you will like rip entire chunks off a boss's health bar all at once. Now it's really hard to get that fully charged attack to land, but if you can get it to land, I think I've only finished a build with it once or twice. For context, I have played Bloodborne with every weapon you can possibly play Bloodborne with. I have made an arcane build. a Blood Tinge Arcane build, a Dex Arcane build, a Strength Arcane build, Quality build, a Pure Dex build, Pure Strength build, Pure Arcane build, Pure Blood Tinge build, Blood Tinge Strength, Blood Tinge Dex. I've made just a heavy Vitality. I'm going for Poison. I'm going for base damage for the Song Beast. I ran through the game at blood level 1. The jump over fence glitch because I wanted to see. I owned Bloodborne as a Game of the Year edition. When I bought it, I had heard it was really good, so I decided, you know what? I'm not gonna pay for digital DLC. I'm gonna buy the Game of the Year edition and have all my DLC on a disc. Hey, guess what? You suckers! When all you people who bought the digital version of the old Hunters and bought the Bloodborne as the original disc, when those servers go down, and they will go down, it won't be now, but it might not be now. It will probably be decades from now. I will have access to the old Hunters no matter how many times I have to get a new PS4. You guys? Oh, what am I saying? They're gonna remake it, but I will have access to the original. I also have access to an original Bloodborne disc because, well, first of all, it was a PS game. Before that, I found it used not the Game of the Year edition, just the regular version. So I bought it so I could play with the unpatched one. Because at the time I was thinking about doing a speed run, and one of the things you can do in a speed run is hop over this fence, which lets you skip like half the game. So it literally, there are speedrunners out there who have beaten Bloodborne in 25 minutes. It's absurd. The things they've done are just dumb. I'm not that good. The Orphan of Kos still gives me trouble, although I'd say it's probably one of the top 3 hardest bosses in all of Soulsborne. For me personally, I think it is. Now it might be tied with number 1 because Malenia just makes the list. Behind those two is Midir. Midir is ridiculous. I remember when I was playing Dark Souls 3. My original playthrough of the Eternal City was as a mage. Do you know how hard it is to kill Midir as a mage? I was all bait, all int, over leveled. My Sunlight Spear. What the hell? It was like I was firing arrows at him. His health bar is absurd. Midir has what might very well be the largest health bar in the entire series. And he takes, like, no damage. I was firing lightning, which is the thing he's weak to. And his gigantic health bar did this. It did this. It's just like, no. No health bar should take that little damage from the most powerful lightning spell in the game, fired by a character with the high soft cap of Fate. That's dumb. It was ridiculous. So yeah, I have played a lot of Souls games. And I will be playing Bloodborne this October. So more than that. Hopefully me and my friend, I'm not sure if he wants me to talk about his name on, I'll just use his Steam name, Coded Assembly. He and I are working on a VR game I've mentioned in the past. It got stalled because he's an accountant and had to do some work. Tax season happened. But now, he's about to start getting back on it, so I'm redoing all the code so we can have everything organized, so we can start adding in extra levels when we get it out. And it's going to be a short game based on those little conveyor belt skills. When somebody's at the conveyor belt, things get faster and faster, and they keep having to do things, and so many falls into chaos. It's sort of like that, but as a game. We're calling it Sword Wars. It's going to be fun. For those of you who can afford VR mode, I know that's a little elitist. It's like, VR games? Really? Like, yeah. I really need to play Half-Life Alyx. I have a VR set, but I do not have a Quest or anything. It's a Oculus Rift S. And so, well, I've mentioned this before, that when COVID started, I was supposed to get a new graphics card when I built my new computer. But then the shortage happened literally a week. Like, the shortage struck. So my friend got his graphics card, and then I was going to get mine like a week later. But the shortage struck during that time period. And so I literally could not get it after that. And it's just been sitting there as I will eventually do this, I swear. My poor computer really needs to upgrade. Like, it works, like, I'm fine. I can run my stuff, but it's not, I can't run it at high graphics, and VR is very taxing on a graphics card. And this is like an NVIDIA 960 or something like that. It's not a great card for VR right now. It's pretty old. Like, it was decent when I got it. I think it was like, a few behind. I got it back in high school, so I got it almost like actually I got it right after I got out of high school. So I upgraded my old computer in my first year of college. So I got it like 6 years ago. So it's still relatively stable for now, but I do really want to upgrade to at least like I don't know, like probably upgrade to a 1300 if I'm able to. I don't think I'm gonna be able to. I'll just see. I have something listed down that'll shoot me enough for VR for the foreseeable future. And if that works, I may get a green screen and you can see me playing VR and flailing around in Beat Saber. Because that'll be a fun way to break up the monotony between big game releases. Just play some Beat Saber rounds. You know, until the music gets copyrighted, and then I have to deal with all that nonsense. Oh, fun fact, the reason Jujutsu Kaisen video does not have any video footage is because I had video footage. But the second I uploaded it, it got struck down with a copyright takedown because apparently, even though I can't monetize my videos yet, because I don't have enough subscribers and/or hours, I'm still being immediately taken down for putting video footage of something I'm reviewing in my review. It's like, you're allowed to use footage for reviews. That is allowed. It's one of the only fair use things that's very clear. It's like, if you're reviewing a work, and I very clearly say in all of my videos, this is the Dragon Library Reviews, season blank, episode blank, this is the thing I'm reviewing, and I mentioned it multiple times in the description, but they have all those fucking bots that are just scouring YouTube for the slightest use of some things. I've actually had to file disputes against multiple companies. The only one who hasn't, I've only gotten one from Disney, and they backed down like really quickly. They were probably one of the quickest to respond to me. So I'm not gonna say shit about them. Just for the Turning Red video, by the way. And all in all, it's just annoying. Like, I get it, you don't want people to do your stuff, but if you're gonna put a bot, at least make it so it's not gonna start striking you down for using it in a review. That's so this game is just a grind. Or you could. One of the two. Yeah, let's go back to the village. I don't want to die out here. Magic crumbs. I have all this money, I might as well use on something. Alright. Nope. Yeah, let's grab 15 of these. File amulets. Ooh, brand new pot. There, I actually used my money for something. And now I have actually a lot of stuff to use, so I now have a lot of healing items. That's good. There we go. Now go ahead and grab some more side quests while I'm here. But yeah, so I know that was really annoying to hear about that, but it happens. I'm just frustrated. It's not like I'm making money off of it, so I'm like wondering what the hell is going on here. I understand it's no one person. It's just, you know, they have these automatic systems in place because people were abusing copyright. I remember all those episodes, those streaming channels where it was literally like 24/7 this show's episodes. It's like, that's really scummy. It's like, I get it, there weren't a lot of streaming options back then, but even once there were things where you could stream them, people kept doing it, and when people break the rules, they crack down on everyone else. So, you know, we all suffer for the actions of a few. Ooh, look, that reminds me of something at school. So I get to trash talk McKinley again. Okay, look, I kind of hated the principal McKinley, like a lot, like irrationally so at this point, because he was really a moron, like a huge moron. He did the stupidest thing I've ever heard of a principal doing. Granted, there are probably principals who have done way stupider things. I personally, ooh, look, it's a stone jewel. good. No, it is good. Great for training. Okay, so I got a stone sword. That's awesome. But, anyway. So, McKinley is a really overcrowded public school in Baton Rouge. It's basically one of the only public schools in the area of Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge, where I live. So unless you get into one of the charter or magnet schools, you cannot go anywhere else unless you test into a place like LSMA or go to a private school. If your only option is, I get to choose a public school, for high school, McKinley is your only choice. And they have way too many students there. It's not their fault, but all the classrooms were overcrowded, and they had to build like tons of extra outside like trailer classrooms for students. Again, it's not their fault, but it is a problem. They need another public school around there, so that teachers aren't as overwhelmed. They're not putting so much strain on one system. And the principal always seemed very stressed about this, but his actions got really irrational. So he had a big problem with the school's image, and he didn't like that a lot of kids were wearing their parents. You know one of those puritanical people who's like, oh, these children wearing their pants so low, because there are people who would like let their pants fall around their waist and show off their underwear and stuff. And it's like, who cares? They can dress how they feel like it. But the principal was like really strict about that for some reason. Like it set him off. And so one day, he interrupted classes to call everyone together to the auditorium to announce a new school rule. I think that's what the rule was. Was it you need to have a belt on at all times? Was it if we see you doing that? What was he going to just go after the thing that was annoying him? Of course not. He was going to be a moron. So instead of going after the actual problem or just dealing with it because kids will be kids, he decided that the issue was the shorts were easier to wear low. So if he made everyone wear pants instead of shorts, they wouldn't do it. I live in Louisiana. He decided that we are no longer allowing khaki shorts to be worn in our schools. Yes, this is an actual rule at McKinley. The entire school was forced to wear pants and only pants, no shorts. Even during August, in the summer, while waiting for the bus. He was a jackass. I'm sorry. The only time we were allowed to wear shorts, and I'm willing to bet he could have gotten away with doing it here too, he probably would have, was at gym. He didn't force the gym closed. But, oh my god, so you ever tried to walk around in khaki pants outside? And we would have a school events where we'd be forced to go outside. It is just unethical to force kids to go outside and sit out there for school events in khaki pants in summer heat in August in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That is unethical. It was ridiculous, it was stupid, and it didn't even solve his problem. No, I'm serious. They still did it, and he acted like he solved shit. He was still pissed off when he saw people like that, but he still kept the rule because he didn't want to back down because he was a freaking moron. And he was so dumb. I was beyond happy when I got to go to LSMA. I consider myself extremely lucky for having gone there. I actually made friends there for, like, actual friends I have kept in touch with for more than the time I spent with them, which I cannot say about any other school in my life. So, I feel extremely fortunate to have gone there because McKinley was just the worst. And again, part of it was that they were a really overburdened school, but also a part was they had some really horrible administrators there. There was also the PE coach that tried to give the entire... Oh, this is a fun one. Anyone who hears this is going to think I'm exaggerating. I wish I was. This is the dumbest thing a teacher has done to me. And for some of you, it might be like, wow, your school really sucked. It's like, yeah, it did. So, I'm trying to remember, it was either I think it was my freshman year or my sophomore year, I cannot remember, year 1 or 2. There were 2 PE coaches. There was the tennis coach and the normal PE coach. And I chose normal PE because I was an idiot and thought I didn't want to do tennis. It turns out the tennis coach was way more laid back, and I ended up doing it for a semester after this whole incident happened. I think that means it happened my freshman year, probably. But what happened was, so you know how in PE the teacher doesn't always have stuff to do because it's freaking PE. So after the initial exercises, a lot of times they'll just say, just go do whatever. Well, he did that a lot, pretty often, and the whole school thought it was fine. most of the kids would just sit in the bleachers doing whatever, you know, talking. I would read the whole time. Well, turns out when we got our progress reports, and I didn't even look at mine because I'm like, I know my all my grades. I kept up with my grades there. I knew I had like A's and B's and those things. I had B's and C's. At that time, because I wasn't as focused back then. An idiot for not having focused as much. It really bit me in college. But when my parents checked out, they're like, Davis, why do you have a D&P? Yeah, apparently. So we went to go talk to him, and he told my parents that I had seen him in the bleachers during the free time, because apparently, even though he never told us this, like ever, free time to him meant doing something active. So anyone who was in the bleachers was getting points marked off in PE, because they said, oh, free time meant we can do what we want. I know that's too. It gets worse. It gets worse. So obviously I was not the only student that had this happen. My parents were not the only ones who were pissed. However, when the students started talking about it in class, we noticed something. There were plenty of students that sat in the bleachers basically every time and hadn't gotten marked down. Now, I want you to think about this. This is a gym teacher and a coach. Who do you think didn't get marked down? You're thinking no. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. The basketball players could do whatever the fuck they wanted, and they would get A's. And when the parents found out, my dad in particular, because my dad's an attorney, and I don't like it when they get involved a lot of times in school. I did need it for accommodations for my ADHD and stuff like that as a kid. And thank goodness my parents were a bit nosy there. God, I hope they never watch this stream and find out I'm thanking them for that. Yeah, my parents went to bat for me multiple times in school. I'm very grateful I would not have gotten this far without them. But you do not mess with a lawyer. And my dad basically rallied together all the other parents. And when they found out that he had been giving other students who had been goofing around in class as well, shit, it was, I can only imagine, I can just imagine when the school found out, they were like, oh shit, we gotta deal with this immediately. So, our grades all got repaired, we all got bumped up, all the points he marked off for sitting around in class were bumped up, and so we all basically had A's again, aside from people who had conduct things going on. And yeah. You know, because he had no right to do that to us, because he did not inform us that he was marking off points for not running around during that period. And I kind of think he hated some of us afterwards, like, me in particular, because my mom and dad were very attentive to school, and when something went wrong, they would go talk with the teachers and administrators. So they were, you know, one of the parent groups that he saw a lot during this whole fiasco. He never really liked me at all afterwards, and I kind of just got sick of him and decided to do my own personal screw you. So the rules for PE was we had to do the activities, we had to participate, and after the whole fiasco, his scoring was being, you know, overviewed. Obviously, he wasn't allowed to just give us whatever grades he felt like he would, because it turns out if he did that, he would give most of us zeros, because, you know, we weren't basketball players. So I decided to use the fact that he can't just mark us down for BS anymore to kind of flip the bird at him in a sense. See, he hated that he obviously didn't like that I just sat and read whenever I had the chance. He's one of those people who thinks kids need to be active, apparently, and just likes, you know, kids who don't like being active. I don't know. And I decided to use it to my advantage. I ran, whenever we would go outside to run laps, since, you know, it's just running around the giant track field, there's plenty of room. And since I've spent a lot of my time looking at streaming while walking, I'm very good at seeing things without, you know, actually looking around me. Like, I'm very good at peripheral vision walking, as I like to call it. I would read a book as we ran track. I could tell you, but he didn't tell me to stop. And because he didn't tell me to stop and didn't get marked down, it's very clear he couldn't do shit. And once I realized that, I did it once on a whim, because annoyed at PE that day and decided, you know what, I'm just gonna be I'm gonna be obstinate. After that, I was like, I always had to have a book on me every day. We go on laps on PE. Every time we have laps, I need to make sure I have a book with me at all times. I got a kick out of it. I won't lie. He deserved it. If it annoyed him, I'm happy. I think he was a horrible person. And I don't think that's a controversial statement. Anyone who marks kids down for literally doing what you told them to do, that's just messed up, right? So yeah, as you can tell, it's not like my original high school. Now, when I speak of high school, usually I'm not talking about McKinley unless I'm saying something negative. If I'm saying something positive about high school, I'm usually saying that I'm usually talking about Elsa Say. And Elsa Say is it's basically a public boarding school for people, for gifted students, essentially. So in order to get in, you not only have to have a certain GPA, but you also have to take the ACT as a sophomore or as a freshman. Basically, they only do a small group of sophomores and then mostly juniors and seniors. Only about 200 kids in the state of Louisiana can get into the school, so it's sort of like a prestige thing. It is a public school, so everyone applied, and it was basically the best grades to get in. And I managed to get a place in it, which was really nice. Now, I would say it was like the best school, but it was more for the best people who applied and knew about it, because there was this one kid I went to high school with called Scott Wu, and he was a freaking genius. Like, I'm not even joking. I do not think I'm a smart person, because I've seen what an extremely smart person looks like. I have a reasonable expectation of my skill level, okay? I was not even like the 10th smartest person in my class, I think. Maybe the 10th in some classes, actually, but like in some larger class pools, because it was more of like different classes and people that shifted out. But I had Shane Zhao, I had Vijit, and I had Scott Wu, and he was basically like academic king. The only class he took with us was English, because that was his bad subject, which meant he needed a little help teacher who was about at our level or below it. His math classes in elementary school, he had a teacher coming from the high school to teach him in the hallway, because he was that far ahead of everyone else. I don't know what he was on. I just know it was way beyond anything any elementary schooler could ever be. I remember hearing, I forget when it was, either in middle school or high school, that he won some like major national math competition. I'm not really sure what happened to him. I stopped interacting with him. I think I had my last class with him was like Glasgow, and in elementary school, which I liked Glasgow. It was a decent school. But wherever he is, that kid was scary good. Like the kind of person who's so smart, he makes you feel like an idiot all the time. Shane Zhao and Vijay were really good at their school. There were plenty of other kids who I don't necessarily remember. I know definitely smarter than me. And honestly, I'm kind of glad for it, because if you are around people who are, if you're like the smartest kid in your class, you have no frame of reference at all. Because you're most likely not one of the smartest people on Earth. Now, Scott Wu's an exception. He was the smartest kid in our class, and he's probably pretty high up there when it comes to people and intelligence in the world. Like I said, he won a national math competition, so he's obviously one of the best kids there. But most people who are like the smartest kid in class are just kind of like above average, because, you know, you're gonna get an average class on average. And it can give you a bloated head. I knew from a early age I was not the smartest kid around me. I had actual problems. I had trouble focusing. I needed special assistance for a lot of things. I was on the test because I get distracted and drift off when I was a kid. I had to do a lot. That's not to say I wasn't intelligent. I just had problems focusing and studying. There were definitely subjects I excelled in. Most of my computer science class up to OS, basically just breezed through even in college. I think there were only like 2 that I actually had to really study really hard for the test. Most of them I just basically sleepwalked all the way through senior year. Most of my computer science classes were just easy A's. But when it came to things like history, biology, I had to work. 4 languages in particular were a nightmare for me. It was one of my hardest classes at Ultimate was my history class with Dr. Vesky and my Latin class. My Latin teacher worked on me really hard, and I'm very thankful every day for helping me get through that class. Because I started, so unlike a lot of people, I didn't actually start Latin. Because I hated Spanish at McKinley, so I didn't want to keep doing Spanish. I was going to say, because I wasn't good at it, I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it at that level. And I thought Latin might be useful later on. I enjoyed mythology, and then giving a bit of that in the background, being able to focus. I was basically dropped into it, because when I was going to say, they used to expect most students to have taken Latin at their previous school. Maybe because all the classes I was going to say were college-level courses. It was basically like mini college. You lived in a dorm in Natchitoches, Louisiana. For those of you who don't know, it's all the way in North Louisiana, close to where I live in South Louisiana. It's far away from anything. We were actually on a college campus, Northwestern University. So we were essentially treated as college kids with chaperones. That's the best way I can describe it. We had a college schedule. We even got to wear whatever we wanted. There was no uniform, which I found very liberating. It was a very interesting school system that I think, honestly, I think it should be more of an option. I think we need more schools like this, because it was sort of like prep school, but without, like, you know, the elitism. I mean, I guess, you know, the entrance tests and all that maybe but it didn't feel that way, if that makes sense. Like, the dorms were very ramshackle. It was very clearly a public school. We used the university's old dorms back when I go there. I hear they built a new dorms now that look really nice. I left before that happened. In fact, back when I was there, a working AC unit was a fully functional AC unit was a prize in the boys' room, and the girls' dorm had horrible AC. So their big prize was an intact bug screen, because you had to open the windows over there. I heard it was atrocious. Like, these dorms were very, very old. Like, our AC units were not like thermostats. They were a giant AC unit that hung in the air. When you wanted to change it, you had to like get on a ladder. But since I was tall enough, I could just reach up. And you had to change a physical dial, like an old analog dial. Like not buttons, like clunky dial. Like you could feel this thing turning. It was an experience. But like I don't hate it. I enjoyed it. The dorms were nice. Everyone there was friendly. I made friends. I wasn't exactly a social person. But yeah, I think more school, like more states need to have something like that. Like a place where people can have an intermediary between college and high school. Because it actually prepared me for college. I had to do my own homework without someone constantly looking at me. Yes, there were overseers in the dorm. Whenever we wanted to leave the dorm, we had to sign out once we were during class times. So if we were if once school was let out, like once the school hours ended on the weekdays, on the evenings we had to sign out. When we wanted to go somewhere, we had to say where we were going, how long we thought we were going to be there. If we wanted to leave on the weekends, we had to do that. If we wanted to use a car, if we couldn't drive, we had to only be able to use on the weekend. We had certain restrictions. There was a bus that would take us certain places. There was a small little snack area. We weren't supposed to spend too much money. We ate in the cafeteria, basically all meals. It was basically like college light. We had college level courses, but they were, you know, high school, essentially topics. Like they were basically those classes that were between high school and college, but they were college level, which let the college level right there to transfer, which was really nice. And it basically just taught us all how to live in a college dorm. You know, hey, we all have a roommate. There were no single dorms in that school. Unless you got lucky and you just did not have a roommate on your students in that hall, you were probably going to have a roommate. So you had to learn to work with them. You had to learn your hours. You had to do your homework without anyone overseeing you. You had to make sure you were turning in assignments. You had to keep up with everything. But unlike college, where you don't have a lot of safeguards, if your grades started dropping a little bit, you know, somebody would talk to you, like, hey, Davis, you know, work with a teacher, you know, supervisor in the dorm would come over and say, you need help. There were those safety nets, which was important, because that meant you could fall without failing. If you got into trouble in a college class, you'd start scrambling to make it out basically on your own. You might go to some tutor or something like that, but you're, you know, digging yourself out of a hole now. In high school, it was still mostly high school style grades. Now there was one teacher who did mostly essays and big tests, and yeah, his classes were hard. Although a lot of it was just fun with subject. Fesky was a divisive teacher, but I actually liked him. Looking back, I like him a lot more than I thought I did. One of those things where... And the game crashed again. I swear, I love this game, but jeez, it is not stable. I hate it. I hate ragging on it because this doesn't feel like a massive studio made this game. This feels like a small budget game. So can I really blame them for not being patched and not being very stable? Yes, I can. The answer is yes, I definitely can. Stability, I'm not one to get all up in your face over frame rates and stability unless it's very noticeable. Like, if you have a thing where you can't run at 60 FPS without being, you know, horrifyingly bad, I will be willing to run a game at 30 FPS. I'm not a strict person on that, but if a game is constantly crashing, yeah, I'm gonna have to. Like, I can't give this. No, even if this game turns out to be one of my best game stories of all time, even if the combat can be really fun for me, I cannot give this more than a 9 because it is crashing so hard, and you can't say a game is perfect. It crashes all in all, very fascinating. Like I was saying, all the things. Dr. Fesky was fun. I would not be a person playing games today, but I was gonna say. So that is definitely an experience I think more kids should have. Like, going to that dorm room, it was still a public school, so it was available. The price was not to make money, but to maintain the facilities and pay the staff. Yes, the dorm costs things, and not everyone can do that, I understand that. But it was affordable in a way that other boarding schools are not, and it was set up in such a way to prepare kids for college. That's why it wasn't a full 4-year school. It was at most a 3-year school if you got in as a sophomore. The sophomore exam was a lot harder, because you had to meet the standards, like the grades and test scores of a junior or senior as a sophomore, which is a lot harder. And as a result, you didn't have as many sophomores. Partially because they didn't want to. How am I supposed to get over there? I've been constantly like running around here. Okay, so I'm gonna head back down, and I gotta go all the way over and go around, I guess. But it prepared me for college. I'm going to say that honestly. I would have crashed in Burr. Like I had problems later on in class that got harder. Without all, I was gonna say I would have. Maybe that would have been better for me in the late game, but it would not have been fun. And I feel like a lot of kids do that. They have trouble in those first few years because there's this unprecedented level of freedom. And Ultimate State gave you that freedom without sacrificing security. But, you know, the supervision at that age continue making your grades and doing well for yourself. Oh, fun fact, since they already had all the ACT scores, they knew we were good kids that, you know, made good grades, we had less of those, and you know all those standardized tests? Yeah, we had less of those. Yeah, we basically disappeared after one tells us. Doesn't that sound nice? So I have to do all those stupid exams. You know, the ones that you eventually find out are nothing, or mean nothing, except the school gets more money if you do better, and so it doesn't act, so while the teachers try to make, like, these tests will add up and decide your thing, it's like, no it doesn't. My grades decide it, and how will I do on the ACT or SAT does. These exams mean nothing to anyone except our teachers. Now, I know some teachers, some of my teachers at least, definitely try to make them matter by like giving us actual bonus points or grades that we did well. That was more incentive so that they could get that nice bonus so the school could get extra money. And I get it, but honestly, all those No Child Left Behind score things that grade schools and divide the money up based on how well they do. It really is. There are no benefit to anyone. Those tests are of 0 value. We should get rid of those things. I know we won't, because we're changing old system. We're doing a new system. Remember, we're not going to get rid of that stupid test thing. That is so far behind us. Fun fact, have you heard the rumors that we're going to get rid of daylight savings time? Yeah, you know that pops up every few years and never goes anywhere. What was it, like 5 or 6 years ago, people were saying that we're going to get rid of it? And we still do stuff almost on a yearly basis, but it only ever gets coverage every once in a while. It's hilarious too, because everyone's like, finally, this will be the moment when we finally get rid of daylight savings time. It's like, we won't, because it requires an overhaul to our systems that we're unwilling or it's the same reason why we haven't, like, the real reason why we haven't switched to the metric system is not really stupid American pride, despite what the Canadians will tell you. Because, you know, some morons like to think using an inferior system of measurement that puts us out of sync with the rest of the world and forces a lot of people to work in fields that require it to memorize two systems and constantly convert. Makes us somehow superior because they're morons. The reason we're not going to do it is because we have machines everywhere. I don't think you guys realize just how exhaustive that would be. Like, we've based our planning around the mile system, which we're idiots for doing, but we kind of screwed ourselves already. Quite frankly, I think it would be worth it to do it. I think we probably should invest in switching over to a measurement system because it's already fucked us over a lot of money. There was actually a horrible NASA story I remember reading as a kid where one of the scientists made a mistake because he was doing his measurements in the imperial system because he's used to that, and then he tried to convert it back, but he forgot to actually convert it, so the measurements were off, and it caused a rover to crash on Mars, or wherever they were sending. I forget exactly where it was being sent to. I just always remember that story. Like, yeah, that's why the imperial system is stupid, because all the things we use those measurements for at the higher levels are, we have to use the metric system anyway. Like, centimeters are a big thing. You run into centimeters all the time. We use Fahrenheit. Like, Fahrenheit is the one we could probably get rid of the easiest, because that just requires switching to Celsius, and that, you know, we already have Celsius labeled on this thing we have Fahrenheit. That wouldn't even be hard. But it's just stupid that we're like this. But we can't. It would be so much money to change it. You're like, what money? It's like, you realize all those road markers, like, you know when you're on an interstate and you see all those road markers and signs, and they have the word mile on them? Yeah. You gotta think about that. Yeah. And all our exits are based around miles. Like, the number on exits is based around how many miles from a certain point they are. So we have to, like, you start doing, like, point something meters or whatever, and nobody wants to do that. No person wants to do that. No. Can you honestly tell me that anyone is going to be able to reasonably say, we should replace every highway sign in America? The only way we would potentially maybe switch the meter system, and this is a, like, over the course of centuries thing, is if individual states started switching to the meter system. Like how some states have switched to not having daylight savings time, even though since it's a global thing, they kind of have to do it. Because, you know, apparently saying, well, our time is like this. Yeah, but if you're doing any international business at all, it's not. It's global warming. It's not global standard time, which, you know, uses the daylight savings time, so we have to use that regardless. Like, we're trapped in this. The daylight savings time is less about signs, and I do think we could eventually do daylight savings time. Once older technology is filtered out, I think we are on the path to eventually doing it. So one of the things I've noticed in recent years is that companies have started preparing technology for a world without daylight savings time. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of clocks will now come with a setting to turn off daylight savings time. So it used to be able to allow like analog and digital clocks, you just had to literally manually move it forward. And a lot of the ones that were automatic had it built in. Like there were ones that had a calendar too, so you could do with daylight savings time and just automatically change it. There was no setting to turn it off. But on Switch, you could turn off daylight savings time. You can do it on most consoles now. You can do it on your computer now. And I think once basically every device that is in use is either manual set fully, it's either fully manually set, or it's you can turn off daylight savings time. Only then can we easily move over to a world without daylight savings time. Although ironically, we might keep it around for the same reason we originally had it. So I'm not sure how many people know how daylight savings time became a thing. And basically the idea was back in the old days, back before electricity became a major utility that everyone had access to, people had to burn oil if they wanted to be around around during the night. Like, if you wanted to see at night, you had to burn oil for lamps, or you had to burn wood for torches. And as you can imagine, this was a strain on resources. People who were very poor could not afford to be active at night. Because, you know, I mean, you can't afford to do that, because oil is expensive, wood is expensive, or at least takes time to get a hold of. So, what do you do? Well, what the LA Savings Time did was make it so during the winter months, we got, you know, fall back, and that meant that since we basically moved the time of day so that dawn would be around the same hour, even when the days were longer and the nights were shorter. Or the nights were longer and the days were shorter. And as a result, since, you know, everyone worked like 9 to 5 or whatever, people could keep the same hours of work without having to burn more oil. That's what it was. It was a resource-saving measure to prevent people from having to expend energy just to do their jobs or to, you know, keep their routines going during the winter months. It's very simple.
のしのしと三つ熊族の長が出てきて言いました。三つ八族？なんで三つ八族の話なんか聞きたいの？あんなやつらの話なん。僕らと三つ八族は今までずっと仲良く共存してきたんだ。で、いつからか僕たちが蜂蜜を守ってあげ、ふむふむとユウは真剣な話。三つ八族の集落には三つ八族が管理する蜂蜜の貯蔵庫があるという。ここ最近その蜂蜜の貯蔵庫が荒らされる事件が何度か。だけど三つ熊族はそんなことをやっていない。犯人だとつくまだ。なるほど。ユウは考え込みます。蜂蜜は命と同じくらい大切なものですからね。三つ熊たちはやってない。三つ八たちの勘違いかもしれないよ。そうですね。ん？どうしたの、サカさん。なんか変だよ。なんでもありません。君たち、三つ八のところへ行くの？だったらこれを持っていきなよ。と言いながら、三つ熊族の長がユウに甘い香りのする箱を手渡します。いい匂い。これ何？から作った香り箱だよ。気持ちをリラックスさせる効果があるんだ。三つ八族が怒ってて聞いてくれない時に使ってみるといいよ。ユウは三つ熊族の長から箱を受け取り、今度は三つ八族の集落を目指して出発します。
That's an actual thing we learned in one of our computer science classes. It's just like, wow, batteries suck. Although we are working on better batteries right now. We've actually seen some of the first progress in batteries in decades, really, in recent years, because graphene is just an amazing thing. Oh, good kids. And the kids are all like, I don't want to deal with this. Why won't the adults just stop being stupid? You know, that's not gonna happen. Alright, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just stop here for now. Seems like a good place to stop off, and I have other things to do tonight, so yeah. I will see you all next time. Thank you for tuning in. Not that I tuned in live, but hey, I know somebody's watching.